530 El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base. And 10908 Front Beach Road.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per 1,000 finance in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. Or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport. The best place in town to take a leak.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, and all the beautiful surrounding areas. And that's going to continue to grow here in our area. So appreciate you tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida this morning. If you are on your computer, your phone, tablet, whatever it may be, check us out on social media. That's ESPN Northwest Florida. We stream live daily. 3 great local shows on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. The Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, the Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1, and of course the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store, and you can take us wherever you go. And then, as we always say, just ask Alexa to open ESPN Northwest Florida. I also believe you can ask Siri to do the same exact thing, and that app will pop up right on your phone, but only if you have it downloaded. Lots of great giveaways in that app as well, so make sure you've got the ESPN Northwest Florida app downloaded on your phone. And of course, last but not least, you can head over to ESPNPC.com. It's $45.08 a month when you use code ESPNNW, and that is for Scorpion TV. 5,000 live streaming channels, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, NFL Network, Red Zone, even the UFC, boxing, and pay-per-view events. 400 local channels from Panama City and most markets all throughout the country. And that's a way you can watch all those games you're looking for, wherever it may be. Pacific Northwest, Midwest, Northeast. Obviously, here in the Southeast, you're getting your local stuff anyway. But again, Scorpion TV has all the premium movie channels as well, like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200-plus entertainment and news networks with thousands of movies on demand. I think David's contest or whatever is still up and running, if I am not mistaken. And
it's not going to happen. No one's participating. I've removed it off the table.
Dang, lack of participation.
Yep.
That usually
I don't hand out no participation trophies either. It's completion trophies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. But yes, $45.08, not 7 cents, 8 cents a month when you use code ESPNNW. The best part is you can watch up to 5 devices at one time. So if you got, multiple TVs in your household or you want to split it with somebody, I mean, you could get down to what? That would be, I can't do that math that quickly, 22 and whatever gets you to 8. So 22.60 something, or 22.50. Actually, $22.54 if you want to split that with another household. Brian Haddad in studio with us. Brian, how you doing today?
Oh, doing well.
Excellent. Great to have you on, as always, here on Thursdays. We'll dive into all sorts of stuff today. We didn't have Brad on Tuesday. We're going to have Brad coming up late. That's Brad Law. He's the director of the Auburn Sports Radio Network. See how things are going up there on the Plains, as, we're kind of in that limbo season right now where you're kind of getting ready for football activities to resume and get back going. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA draft results from last night. We did yesterday, Brian, we did a little thing where we put a script together of what we would like to see, like a fairy tale script and then a realistic script for our favorite NFL team, as well as our favorite college football team. So I'm going to ask you that a little bit later on, give you kind of that precursor so you can think about that a little bit. I did mention the Madden curse yesterday. We did it last year too, but we're going to do it again this year, kind of deep dive and keep a tally of, was it cursed? Wasn't it cursed? And see what kind of percentage we're looking at there from the Madden curse with Saquon Barkley's backwards huddle now on the cover of the Madden 2026 game. Also want to give a shout out to ourselves, ESPN Northwest Florida, our 8th birthday today. So we've been rocking and rolling for 8 great years right here in wonderful Bay County and beyond. So happy birthday, ESPN Northwest Florida. Our college football countdown is now at 57 days, 12 hours, 55 minutes, and 16 seconds and counting. Again, that's the countdown to the first game on week 0, which, as we talked about yesterday, why not just call it week 1? Because 0 is a number. But you don't want to wear a 0 if you're playing NBA basketball. That is for certain. And then the NFL, just a little bit longer than that. That's the countdown to September 4th, that opening game on Thursday night. That's actually on NBC before they start kicking it over to Prime Video. But 69 days, 12 hours, 54 minutes, and 47 seconds. Brian, we had the NBA draft round 1 go down last night. Not a lot of surprises, but a few here and there. So before we kind of dive into each particular... got Michigan Eddie on the line. I've heard from him a couple times. What's up, Michigan Eddie?
Blue Sharks, what's going on? Just waiting for the construction people to give me my parking space back here at wonderful Tyndall. We got a whole bunch of construction going on out here. So I went and got a haircut and had to move my truck. Now I'm waiting and been waiting for a while, and now you're on. So I'm just figuring I'd give you a call and say, hey, Tigers first team to 50 wins, beat the A's Tuesday. Lost yesterday. Jack Flaherty had a not so good third inning, gave up 2 walks and a home run. Local product, J.J. Bleday, on the A's, from Mosley, and played at Bandy on a College World Series and all that. But Jack, he'll get together. He started off slow, did good, kind of regressed. Now he's getting back to form, but had a bad inning, but whatever, The Tigers are loading up in the All-Star. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, you got to vote for your favorite players, man. You can vote up to 5 times a day. So you got Spencer Torkelson in the running for first base. You got Gleyber Torres at second. You got Riley Green and Javi in the outfield. Of course, you got Tarek Skubal. And, dude, next to Cal Raleigh, the best catcher in baseball is Dylan Dingler, even though he went to the Ohio State University. But he is awesome. He's got a cannon for an arm. He hit a 3-run shot on Tuesday. He is just phenomenal. Get his rookie card.
But does he have an unbelievably great nickname?
Huh?
Does he have a fantastic nickname like the Big Dumper?
No.
Well, then
don't make fun of the Dingler, man.
I'm not. I'm just asking if he's got a good nickname, like the Dinglerberry.
The Dingler and the Dumper.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds like a new podcast.
That's actually
and Max Clark's heating it up at high A. I'm telling you, you got to get the rookie cards for the Tigers, man. The prospects, they're already up the roof on something. There's a Jose Prasino rookie card that's going for $400 already, gemmed out. Dual autograph and dual PSA 10 auto and card at 10, going over $400. Unbelievable.
All this baseball stuff you're talking about, Michigan, is going right over my head.
I love it.
I know.
You need to get it. Okay. Let's talk NBA draft. The Pistons have one pick, round 30, pick 37, whatever. Congratulations to the Duke guys, Christian brothers. So congratulations to them. But what I understand is how you have 2 picks in the top 10 from that smelly University of New Jersey, Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights.
New Brunswick,
Did
baby.
They even make it to the tournament this year? How can you have 2
They
top
barely
10
made it to the
draft
Big
picks?
10 tournament.
2 in the top 5.
Yeah.
How in the heck did you not make it to the tournament with 2 top 5 NBA picks? I stand corrected, thank you. But I could not believe that. Could not believe
we were
that.
talking a little bit about
That's
that
how bad
yesterday.
that university is. Get out of the Big 10, Rutgers. We don't want you or your market.
Hey, I had a lot of friends go to Rutgers. Rutgers is a fantastic engineering and pharmacy school. And they've got a great hockey program.
One of my B1 brothers went to Rutgers. I give them crap all the time. But that university is terrible.
What's
It's
terrible
like
about it?
BYU.
What's terrible about BYU? They're getting the best recruits in football and basketball.
BYU's they're a bunch of hypocrites, bro. So when I was at the Air Force camp, I told a story this morning. We would have contingents of cadets that would go to away games with the academy. Okay? I didn't go a lot because, I wasn't the most upstanding cadet, if you will. But the cadets would go. So they'd go to Provo, and they would tell me stories. They're in uniform in their section, and the BYU fans would spit on the cadets in uniform.
Interesting.
I mean, forget that. They're some of the most. I hate BYU's fan bases more than I do Ohio State, Sparty, Navy, Old Hudson High, Notre Dame, whatever. BYU fans are classless and terrible.
Man. Any BYU fans out there want to give us a call and rebut all this nonsense from Michigan Eddie?
Even my buddy went to the academy. He was an Air Force quarterback, got recruited by BYU and all that from Arizona. He would say the exact same thing.
I don't know who that is. So
he got recruited by BYU, and a lot of the big Pac-10, Arizona State, Utah, all that. Actually, his cousin is actually the defensive coordinator at the University of Utah, but he would say the same thing. Yeah, BYU fans. I mean, because he would be on the sidelines playing football for Air Force, and the stuff that they would say, you would think would come out of the mouth of a Christian university. The typical Christian, holier-than-thou, Hippocratic approach, I give Christians a bad name.
ESPN Northwest Florida does not condone Michigan Eddie's views on religious topics.
No, I am the people's call. I'm calling like I see it because I've seen it for myself. I've been to BYU I'm a geography nerd, so we went to the Geography Bowl. But you could tell you're on a campus there, and they know you're not from there, and they just treat you different, man.
There's a lot of universities that do that, though, especially here in the Southeast with a lot of these SEC programs. You hear some horror stories with that as well.
Dude,
Michigan Eddie, hold on. Give me another university besides Michigan that you like. I know, it's a tough one.
The Academy.
Besides the Air Force Academy.
I like Liberty. Deanna got her master's there.
Okay.
I like them. I like the Cockaboose, South Carolina.
Okay.
Eris went to affiliate of South Carolina.
Yeah. Ohio State.
I like Ole Miss in the Grove. Eddie went to a football camp there, and that campus is like Ann Arbor. Like them. I like UNC, Chapel Hill. Their campus is a lot like Ann Arbor, too. Jumpman and all that. So I like UNC.
Other than the out-of-state tuition, I really would have loved to go to UNC. Just a spectacular campus and all that stuff. Beautiful, beautiful place
And
up
Franklin
there.
Street.
Yeah, it's a
And
cool
then I got to
place.
like UF now because my money goes to UF because of Bubby. So there you go.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
But even though I think I think UF's a dump. Their dormitories are terrible.
Well, they're about to renovate their stadium.
I like UF, but the campus is a
The
dump.
line to beat up Michigan Eddie starts to the left.
Yes.
I mean, Shands Hospital, their medical campus.
Hey, I just went to the UF Proton
problem.
Radiation Beam Therapy, and it was a great experience. So kudos to UF. They're my new second favorite university, third favorite university.
But I'll tell you, the Swamp is the most overrated stadium ever.
Well, they're about to
there in
renovate it,
person, They
from
barely
what I
sold
read.
out. The sound system's terrible. The fans are fair weather fans, and they're honoring Emmitt Smith.
All right, we need to get a UF alum on the phone right here after Michigan.
I have a feeling we're going to get a few.
I mean, you were playing A&M, honoring Emmitt Smith, and there was like 3/4 of the stadium wasn't even full. I was there.
It's because you were there. They all were scared.
And the sound system's terrible. Nothing like the Big House. Nothing.
Nothing's ever going to be like the
what's
big
like
house.
the big house? I mean, outside of the shoe up there in Columbus.
That is true.
I heard the
That
shoe is one of the best places to be at.
Horseshoe's overrated, bro.
What is
Golly,
it?
Overrated.
What isn't? Have you ever been to Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina? Now that's an awesome place.
Yeah,
And you can get free food and free drink, all not alcohol.
Now
but
that's an awesome place.
yeah. And they just opened up a 90,000 square foot indoor football facility trying to keep pushing that football program in the right direction. Go ahead, Michigan.
Actually, by the way, I took Eris to a soccer ID camp in Conway at the Coastal Carolina. I had been on the football field with little Eddie, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Been
Teal
to
turf,
Murphy
baby.
several
Surf
times.
turf. Surf turf.
That's right.
It's the best. They put
You
surf
know
turf
that.
in the indoor football facility, too. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't been back in so
Sorry
long.
about your Chanticleers. I was hoping they were going to win, bro.
Yeah.
I wanted them to win, beat LSU.
Still an unbelievable season that will go down. You can't win in your first year as a head coach. It's just one of those things. It's like playing in your first major in golf. You're not going to win that. But if you do, kudos and keep it going. But I think the future is bright for those Chanticleers, especially after getting so much national attention with that fantastic run.
Well, they've had a good baseball program for a while. When I think, was it 10, 15 years ago, they won their first title, put them on the map, and they've kind of been on the map ever since then. So
2016,
and their football program's getting better. Yeah. Their football team's getting better.
Hey, we beat those BYU Cougars and Zach Wilson in that huge reschedule game. I think that was, 3 or 4 years ago? We almost cracked the top 10.
I loved every minute of it.
Was that 2020?
Loved it.
COVID?
It might have been. But there was stands. I mean, people in the stands. But I mean, every place was different. But yeah, that was the year that when Zach Wilson threw that interception, the two Coastal guys kind of went at him pretty hard.
Yeah, December 5th, 2020.
That's right. And they were supposed to, I believe, play somebody else. But their football team, I want to say it was Liberty or something like that, but their football team had too many cases of COVID, so they couldn't field a roster. So then they pivoted and got BYU to come out to Conway, and then they found out what happens when you come out to Conway without a lot of preparation. So, anyway.
Myrtle Beach is awesome, man. I love that place.
It's
like Americana at its finest.
It's
Mormons versus mullets.
Yeah, the mullets versus the Mormons. That's right. They had shirts. They had shirts.
It's like a mix. It's like the modern America condos and the old American condos.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
all in one small little area there. But, I mean, Myrtle Beach is massive. I mean, you got Pawleys Island. It goes all the way up to North Myrtle Beach, and then you cross the border up there into Wilmington, South Carolina. Yeah, obviously spent a lot of time at the beach. But, Coastal Carolina is not on the beach. It's 8 miles from the shore, but really not that far.
Coastal was supposed to play Liberty.
That's right. So I did remember that correctly. Every once in a while I remember something correctly. It's getting harder and harder, but...
Have you ever been to south of the border?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That was
I've driven by there.
Kid, though.
I actually want to stop by there. I did it like a drive-by. You know what I mean? But I actually want to go there and check it out. That's like old
Careful
school,
on those drive-bys,
old
Michigan
stuff.
Eddie. You can get yourself in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to call in and say hello, man. Vote for your favorite teams, man. Detroit Tigers, bro. Go blue. And hopefully Pistons get a solid pick. Danny Wolf went to the Nets. Michigan, big man. So congrats to him. Lions are doing Lions thing. So, And hey, we'll get that pet lion on that field, on Ford Field. Don't worry about it. FCDC will make it happen.
I'm ready.
Saying.
I'm ready for it. I do want to see the lion on the field. That would be fantastic. Anything else?
You got anything for me?
No, just, obviously keeping you in our thoughts and prayers and thinking about you all the time, Michigan Eddie. And I appreciate you having an opportunity while your parking spot's getting fixed to give us a call.
Yep, no problem. Pray for you guys and pray for Smitty as well. And
yes.
You guys take care. Love you guys. And remember, go Blue. Truck Series Urban Raft Toys back to Tittle. And go Blue, baby!
There you go. There you go. See you, Michigan Eddie. The first segment brought to you by Michigan Eddie and his hatred towards a lot of universities. A lot of universities.
And a lot of people catching strays in that segment.
Yes. But, I mean, at least he's always true to himself. So
he told us he was doing drive-bys. So,
yeah, he doesn't deviate from that, and you can't fault him for that.
He hates Santa Claus and Mother Teresa.
Does he hate Santa Claus?
And I'm just thinking of a few people left.
Yeah, that's true.
His favorite meal was the Easter Bunny.
Mm-hmm. Womp womp. South of the border, that brought back some memories. That's the attraction and hotel located right there on the border of South Carolina and North Carolina between US 501 and Highway 301 off of Interstate 95. So if you're traveling up that corridor over there on the eastern side of the United States, it's no Buc-ee's, but another attraction that certainly brings a lot of people to it. Opened in 1950. 75 years of south of the border action with Mr. Pedro himself. We'd take trips up there every once in a while because it's only about an hour and a half away from where the campus was. And 501 is the main thoroughfare getting into Myrtle Beach there, also known as the most dangerous highway in the United States of America because it's like 55 speed, and then they have all those left turn lanes where you get to the middle, and if you just don't know how to drive those, it can certainly be complicated. Well, we didn't really get to talk about the NBA draft, but the good news is we have some more segments coming up today. So I'll just mention a couple quick things. Braves last night, the Mets now have one victory against those Atlanta Braves as they could not get it done. And then in the big pitching matchup that Chef Ross was talking about yesterday, Skeens versus Mizorowski. Mizorowski got the better of that one in the 4-2 Milwaukee Brewer win. Mizorowski struck out 8 in 5 scoreless innings, while unfortunately Paul Skeens allowed all 4 runs in just 4 innings of work. In 16 innings pitched this year, Mizorowski has 19 strikeouts to just 7 walks and 2 earned runs. Certainly pitching some great baseball right now. Another quick news, the Oilers traded Evander Kane to Vancouver for a 2025 fourth-round pick. Both teams announced that yesterday. I'm sure there'll be a lot more moves before the draft comes up here in just a little while. But Evander Kane, known as his kind of aggressive, I don't want to say dirty. I never want to label anybody as a dirty player, but he certainly flirts with that particular thing. I think I believe his career started in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, but I could certainly be wrong. College World Series was the most watched 2-game series on an ESPN platform ever. They averaged 2.5 million viewers. Obviously, LSU having a huge part to do with that, but don't want to sell my Coastal Carolina Chanticleer short. I'm sure they brought some fans that weren't LSU fans into that mix as well. But, most ever watched 2-game series on ESPN platforms ever. But, I mean, it's a 2-game series, so, I mean, what other 2-game series are you comparing it to? I was hoping it would be a 3-game series, but just fell a little short. When we get back, I'm going to ask Coach Haddad what his scripts would be for his teams coming up these football seasons that are getting ever so closer. You are listening to The Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
A 2-run home run.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straightaway center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, likely thunderstorms and some clouds, a high of 89 with a gentle breeze at 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a chance of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Now in stock at Tommy Otto's.
2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude. Luxury at a value price. $13,995 or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable. $11,995 at Tommy Autos.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City. 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Autos on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title.
This is Patrick with Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. Mole cricket season is here. Before these insects can do damage or even destroy your lawn, call Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. We will come out to your property to quickly and effectively stop lawn-destroying mole crickets so you don't have to make costly repairs. Look us up on Facebook at Turf Pro PC or call Turf Pro at 850-890-5820. 850-890-5820. Call the blue and yellow trucks. We'll make your lawn green.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. From the beach to the bay to the backyard, it's the Inside Drive.
I'll get sand in my underpants.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back jiving here in the Golf Plus studios. Go check out their new Facebook page, Golf Plus PCB. And the Dothan store is up for sale if anybody is looking to buy a golf shop, all the merchandise and all the wonderful things that come along with it. You just gonna let it go? Might as well just let it go the whole segment, right? In the background?
Yeah, over here on Facebook, I'm changing y'all's cameras to the beat.
Nice. Dude, I was just saying, get my glow sticks out.
Right. Right? You go back.
Yeah, Coach Haddad looked so excited. Me and you were back here bebopping and whatnot, and Coach Haddad just like, turn this down.
Yeah. It's not my vibe, man.
Get off my lawn. Right. Oh, goodness. All right.
Maybe he wasn't shaking his fist at clouds last night because he might have got struck by lightning.
Yeah, that was some wild
It
stuff.
was so beautiful on my way to church last night from here. It was just streaking through the clouds. And it was like, oh, my gosh, that is
And the
amazing.
temperature was reasonable there for a little while.
Yeah.
And this morning, the humidity kind of seemed like it went out a little bit, which was good. I'm sure.
And they came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, always does. Always does. You get a small reprieve, and then you jump right into it. All right, Coach. We did it yesterday.
All
David
right.
did his Titans and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Chef Ross did the
Green Bay and Wisconsin.
and the Wisconsin Badgers. So I know
I was going to say, I'm probably going to do the same two teams as David, although I'll add the Yankees in there.
There you
since
go.
We're halfway
Ooh,
through the season.
I like that.
Titans, realistic. Honest to God, just show signs of life. Be able to semi-protect Cam Ward would be the thing. If Cam Ward can make it through the year healthy, that would be honestly a good realistic, because they're not going to be very good this year. Now, the fairy tale would be a Jaden Daniels-like Commanders run to in this case, the AFC Championship game. But obviously, that's fairy tale for a reason. But no, I think, 5-6 wins, Cam Ward plays the whole year and shows signs of improvement, I'd be jumping up and down at that.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of what David said yesterday as well on the realistic side of things. Just moving in the right direction, throwing the ball to people on your team, and not necessarily just tossing it up.
Alabama, what I really am, the script I want to see is them be sharper in the non-quote big games, because that was DeBoer's problem last year. He was great in the big games.
Yeah.
But it was those Oklahomas, Vanderbilts, that in the Pac-12 he could get away with coasting through those. He can't do that in the SEC. And those were the games that tripped Alabama up. I mean, other than Tennessee, which is a big deal. But I would love to see Alabama much more sharp in those games because I do believe that they're going to be solid in the big games. The fairy tale is Ty Simpson has a Mac Jones-like season because I think their parallels are similar. And a guy who kind of sat. Everybody's talking about the new freshman coming in. For Mac, it was Bryce Young. For Ty Simpson, it's Russell. But, look, I think Alabama, I don't think it's a fairy tale to say goes to the playoff and makes a deep run. I think they have the ability to do that. Yeah. They've just got to be sharper in those games. So fairy tale is, let's say Bama goes to the championship game and Simpson has a Mac Jones-like season.
You almost got it right. The fairy tale's got to be lifted the trophy, man. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, that would be.
The reality is getting to the national championship.
Yeah,
I'm totally kidding.
I'm never not upset if Alabama loses. I don't care who they're playing. But
I think I said our reality was about 10-2.
I think that's right. I do think they will make the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah.
So for the Yankees, I know we're kind of halfway into the season here.
Baseball.
Honest to God, the basic kind of storybook is Yankees pitching continues to develop, and they make another deep run into the playoffs, possibly going back to the World Series, but at least making the AL championship series. The fairy tale is somehow Judge hits 400. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And, I mean, one of the most unassuming guys, you want to say Luis Arias would hit 400 or, back in the day, Ichiro or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah. Power hitter.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like, Chuck Knobloch hitting 80 home runs. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense. So the fairy tale for me is the Yanks win the World Series and Judge hits 400, becoming the first man to do so since, 1941? I think Ted hit 406. Yeah, it's a long time ago. I think Glenn Manley was in college back then.
He was maybe his.
It was a sophomore year.
Yeah, he was a sophomore. There,
but anyway, that would be my fairy tale there, obviously, for the Yanks. I don't really have any other teams I'm all that strongly behind. Yeah. I mean, I love the Preds, but I don't follow them enough to really have anything else. But that'd be kind of my scripts, I guess, if you will.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And you brought a baseball one. We didn't touch on that one yesterday.
Yeah.
I guess we probably could have, but I think all of us, we'd have some similar parallels, I think, between.
I think it'd be so good for the game. Because, the 70 and then 73 and then obviously, 755, all of those were kind of shrouded in the steroid era.
Yeah.
I think it would be so good for the game if a big number went down in the next couple of years, whether it be a 56-game hitting streak or hitting 400 or, we get a 30-game winner. Those would be huge for the game of baseball.
Yeah, because you're in this new non-steroid era, supposedly.
Yeah,
all that
and
stuff.
I would love to see something like that, happen. Even if somebody, let's say, hits 74, I still think it's tainted. So I would love to see it in one of those other kind of areas where there, seminal numbers in baseball that actually, get accomplished. I think it'd be good for the game.
Yeah. I got to get me one of those Utah Mammoth jerseys. Those are sweet. What do you guys think?
I like the jerseys. Seeing the name for the first time on screen, Utah Mammoth, just didn't look right to me.
Yeah, the name is one thing, that's for sure. But
the logo's fire.
Yeah,
I'll give it
the logo's pretty sweet.
It is, but it's right next to Utah Jazz, which is an oxymoron in and of itself. So, I mean, it's what it is.
True.
I like when cities do that because we only got one city that utilizes the same color scheme. That's the Pittsburghs.
Yeah, the Pittsburghs.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they do. The expansion draft is always, I feel like it gives you a nice head start. Kind of.
Yeah, but they're not an expansion team.
No, they're not. They're the Coyotes moved over, but I guess they just picked up somebody from the Buffalo Sabres, so they're talking to the owner of the Jazz and the Mammoth on the Pat McAfee.
Nice.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I wish that they would do, how we're getting all of these crazy jerseys across sports?
Yes.
I wish that, the Braves would come out with like how the White Sox did with their City Connect, where it looks like the Bulls.
Yes.
I like those, man. I think it's cool.
Paying homage to another team in your market there.
Do you want to see the Braves do like a little Dirty Bird?
Yeah, or even the Hawks would be like that would be a cool color scheme, and they're not too far off. The black and red would look wild, but
you could have them do a compilation of all the hockey teams they've had.
That's true. That's true. Just all over that jersey.
They always seem to get one, lose them in 5 years. Get another one, lose them in 5 years.
But the bad part about that is the combination between the Jets and the Flames isn't a great combination.
Well, and the Thrashers.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That'd be ugly.
And I heard some rumbling.
Yeah, no, Winnipeg was Hartford. Never mind. Never mind. But I just thought Jets
That's a great classic jersey, too, the Whalers jersey.
Oh, yeah, there's rumblings out there in line again.
Yeah, that they're talking
about
trying
to bring. That's what I'm thinking. God, how many times?
Yeah. I guess what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
The Atlantic Claims. Yeah. They claim to have a hockey team for 3 years, and then they moved somewhere else.
There you go. Maybe they could just
call them the Temps.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Temporarians.
Yeah, and they actually come to you to serve you tickets.
Georgia does touch Florida, though, and Florida's the new capital of ice hockey in the world, so maybe they can pull some of that good vibe out of the Florida, even though it's the Panhandle where they touch. But yeah, I'm sure Canadians are thrilled with all that going on. But yeah. All right, real quick. NBA draft action. No surprise, number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg, is now a Dallas Maverick. He was obviously a shoo-in for that top pick, and talking about that whole situation kind of became a little boring, but he will be an immediate impact player on a legit playoff caliber team. Of course, if they all stay healthy and when they get Kyrie Irving back. He represents everything lost in the inexplicable Luka Doncic trade. He's officially a new day in Dallas. And, Brian, what do you think about Cooper? You think he's going to make a big-time impact there for the
I actually
Dallas Mavs?
do. I think that team's actually set up pretty well.
Not very often that you get a top player going to a good good team.
Every time, the big kind of moment to where his name really started getting out there was, when they were talking about this kid who was at that time like 14.
Yeah.
And he was holding his own against college players when they were doing like these camps and things. And it seems like every time he goes up against more seasoned, maybe, more physically mature talent, he holds his own and plays well. So while it's difficult to expect a guy to walk right into the NBA, it's not like it was 40 years ago, but it's difficult to expect that. Every time he seems to have been faced with this, he's done very well. So I would expect him to make some level of an instant impact, but fortunately for him, he's not going to have to be the only guy. It's not a Zion in New Orleans kind of situation. He's got some weapons around him, and if they can mesh together, that team could make a run this year.
Yeah, if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, if Kyrie comes back, he doesn't have to be what he was at Duke. He can certainly be more of a recipient of a lot of different things versus the one making it all happen. He's got a good core there in Dallas. Number 2 pick, despite all the shade Michigan Eddie was throwing earlier at the University of Rutgers, don't underestimate Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick who has gone now to the San Antonio Spurs. At his peak, will likely have a superstar profile. His fit is a little wonky, though, with De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle in the Spurs' backcourt. But, as John Hallinger wrote, part of The Athletic, it's a bet on pure talent there for the San Antonio Spurs. And they have plenty of it now on that roster. Brian, what do you think?
Another one that, could actually make a pretty instant impact.
Yeah, it's another team.
It's another team that if Victor comes back healthy, might be ready to make a bit of a run. Now, I don't think they're done.
Yeah.
I think they've got some trades in play here in the next month or 6 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how they finally shape that team, because I think they're ready to run now.
Yeah.
So there may be some movement here, and quite frankly, they may make some movement with Harper as a piece. I'm not 100% sure. I think more likely if that were going to be the case, they'd have done it last night.
Yeah.
But the Spurs are a mystery to me. I know they have more to do. I just don't know which way they're going to go.
Absolutely. And how much do you think of an impact Popovich not being the head coach of that team anymore? I know he's still kind of involved with the program.
It's hard to say. Look, he's a guy I never really cared for all that much. But what I did like about him is he seemed to have have a lot of people with a lot of input around him. So I don't know that it's that hard, for these people to slot in, because I do think it's been a bit of coach by committee, at least for the last several years. So I don't know that it'll have that big an impact. And he is still around, but I don't think it'll have that much of an impact.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. A couple other surprising, intriguing things. You had Ace Bailey, who was kind of the dramatic one of this NBA draft, still went to Utah at number 5, even though he said he didn't want to go there, declined doing a workout for the Jazz. And then, of course, Portland kind of stunned everybody by picking Chinese center Yang Hansen, who was originally projected to be a second-rounder at number 16. What do you think is going to shake out with Utah and Bailey, even though there was kind of some, for lack of a better term, animosity prior to the draft?
Look, I get we're in a new world, but I never like the notion that guys put out teams they want to play for. Yeah. I never liked the notion of it wasn't on my preferred list. I am one of those people who, believes in the fairy tale, to take us back to the beginning of this segment, that just getting drafted into the league is a big deal.
Yeah.
And
not many people get that opportunity.
Right. So, I get it. And look, he had a lot of nice things to say about Utah, so it wasn't like, but this isn't new either. I'm not saying this. I remember Jim Kelly famously, where would you rather play, Houston or Buffalo, when he was talking about the USFL. I get it, but I don't love that. But that being said, Utah's got a lot of good young pieces there. Ace Bailey's problem is he was very inconsistent. His talent's up with everybody, but he's very inconsistent, so it's a bit of a worry. But, maybe going into a situation, and Utah taking Walter Clayton Jr., who's a little more seasoned guy, obviously had the big postseason run with the Gators, maybe allows Bailey a little bit of time to settle in where he doesn't have to be the guy. Now, whether or not his ego can sustain that, we'll have to see. But it was an interesting pick, but I wouldn't say shocking. His talent is there, that if you're Utah and you feel like, look, we got another first-round pick, we got some good young pieces, and they seem to be involved somehow in every trade that ever happens in the NBA. Like, they weasel themselves in as the third wheel all the time. You want to take a shot on a guy like that. Absolutely. The biggest story for me in last night's draft is, you want to talk about how evident the game has changed, is after Cooper went number 1, 7 straight guards.
Yeah.
You don't think this is a perimeter game now? That's crazy.
Certainly changed to that, that's for sure. I heard you guys talking yesterday, David. You were kind of comparing the Warriors to the Bulls, and some of those stats of the shooting side of things was just wild. But it also makes sense. Different eras of the game, and it seems to be changing, quite often.
We're diving deeper into that next Wednesday, where I'm going to come up with a set list of questions. I'm really going to try to put some time and effort into that. And I like it because you got Caveman Rick's perspective on that, who's like in middle 40s or whatever. You got mine, who's in the middle of his 30s, and you got Banji, who's in the middle of his 20s.
Yeah.
So you kind of have all of those eras represented in the argument.
Yes, absolutely.
And all we can hear is Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. As a Michael Jordan guy, that is a tiresome argument just to say his name and be like, that's enough said.
Right. Biggest flop, arguably, of the draft, first round last night anyway, for a team that's really already in dire straits. That's New Orleans Pelicans. They traded next year's first-round pick unprotected to Atlanta in order to trade up for Maryland's Derek Queen at the number 13 pick. That pick could be number 1 next year, and they let it go for the number 13 pick in this year's draft. Pretty wild stuff out of New Orleans, but at the same time, they've kind of...
Well, the other part of that trade that was interesting is Asa Newell was kind of dropping. And, the fact that he gets traded to Atlanta, stays really close to home, which he played at Georgia.
Yeah.
And that maybe makes it a little more comfortable for him. He gets a positive out of a night that was probably seen as mostly a negative, because a lot of people had him, kind of maybe 10 to 13 in that round. I'm sure he was looking at the Hawks, who picked, at 13, I believe it was. 13. And then, 23. He was the best guy on the board, really, from there on, and did not go until 23. So it worked out okay for him. But, it's one of those moves that you scratch your head a little bit in terms of value. Could work out, maybe not. But
I mean, they could get that lottery, that number 1 pick next year.
Yeah.
And then certainly be beneficial to the Atlanta Hawks. Brooklyn Nets with 5 picks. They got Igor Demin. He's a power forward from Michigan Eddie's favorite, BYU University. Carter Bryant, who's a strong forward from Arizona in the number 14 pick. Nolan Traore, he's a point guard. I don't think he went to college. France, yeah, another overseas guy there. And then you had Drake Powell, the number 22 pick. He's a guard from UNC. And then the 26th and 27th picks, Ben Seraph, a guard from overseas, as well as Danny Wolf, who was a power forward from Michigan. So 5 picks there for the Brooklyn Nets, trying to turn it around.
Yeah, so
there.
Powell actually drafted by the Hawks, was then traded to Brooklyn. But they had they basically drafted an entire new team last night.
Starting 5. Yeah. Starting 5. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive deep into the Madden curse and find out if it happens more often than not. David Hayes smiling behind the glass. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted to reach out and smack someone?
Sit your ass down and shut up!
Call or text the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida with your rants, hot takes, picks, and takedowns.
This is unacceptable at the University of Alabama!
This should go 7 games. You've got to have a bad game at some point.
The Red 70s studio line, 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. Get in the game.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per 1,000 finance in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Now back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
It's alive! What's alive? We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You listen to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the Atlanta Braves right here on the Gulf Coast. We got another game coming up tonight right after the Afternoon Underdogs. Can the Braves make it 6-1 against the Mets this season? We will certainly find out after the Afternoon Underdogs. Coverage starts at 6, first pitch 6:10. And then, of course, you've got several more games throughout the weekend. You got a 3-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies at home up there in Truist Park, or at Truist Park, I should say. Tomorrow is going to be 6 p.m. right after the Afternoon Underdogs. First pitch 6:15, and then the same first pitch on Saturday, but coverage starts at 5 p.m. And then on Sunday, you've got your matinee game coverage starting at 11:20, followed by first pitch at 12:35. Again, a little 3-game series against the division-leading Philadelphia Phillies, who were shut out for the second time in a row by those Houston Astros last night. So, Braves got to win these games against your divisional rivals because that's the only way you can really play a lot of catch-up. Also saw that Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be competing in the Home Run Derby in his own park.
Yeah, and he's on fire.
That's pretty exciting stuff. Now, are you worried? A lot of times when guys go to home run derby, they come back and they, may have a little bit of a slump afterwards. Any worries of that with Ronald Acuna Jr., or you think maybe this will ignite him because he's playing,
already ignited.
He's already on fire.
So the chances is that, no, it ruins a swing. However, he
swings like that more often than not anyway.
Well, you got to have a representative
of
there.
course.
If you've got someone who can hit the long ball, then you got to have a representative in the home run derby. So if it does affect his swing, hey, let this be the year that it happens.
Yeah,
right?
because still got a long way to go. But
I don't know. I'm excited about it, and there's also been the instances with Juan Soto, who's struggling going into the All-Star break. So that's why I say with him hitting as hot as he is, hopefully it doesn't affect him, but if it is going to affect him, it's going to affect him adversely.
Yes, good points. Yeah, but that'll be exciting for the, I'm going to call it the makeup All-Star game there in Atlanta. And,
she's party, though.
Yeah, she is. Little action there for him. That's going to be fun to be watching, or if you have the lucky opportunity to be up there for the home run derby, that'll be a wonderful experience. All right, is the curse real or is it not? Let's dive into it and see what kind of percentage of, and we can all kind of vote, and then I'll put one in the yes column or one in the no column. And,
who's this article from?
This is from CBS Sports.
Yeah, they do it every year.
Yeah. Cody Benjamin from June 2nd. And it's just so funny, too, how college football and NFL football have video games that are so tied in to their sport that it just makes it, pretty cool. College football is coming out here pretty soon.
July 10th.
July 10th.
Apparently, they've made a lot of strides, too. The coaches are going to be in the games.
Yeah.
Weather's not going to be a big factor, but I imagine that it will be next year because Madden always gets the newest stuff.
Yep, yeah.
And then in July, or college football, that's how it used to be. We don't, last year, everything was new for college football.
Yep.
However, you're going to see the new stuff go to Madden, and so college football will always be a year behind, but it will also have its, upgrades and whatnot that you could only do for collegiate things.
Of course. Looking forward to both of those. Obviously, like you were saying, the Madden's kind of got more weather impacting, footing and stuff like that. Much more, quote-unquote, realistic, so to speak. But let's dive into this. Again, this is from CBSSports.com. Cody Benjamin's article. We'll start, it's basically the last 25 years. 2001, Tennessee Titans running back Eddie George. George went on to rush for more than 1,500 yards in his cover season, but he also lost a career-high number of fumbles, coughed up the ball in the Titans' season-ending playoff game, and never averaged more than 3.4 carries for the rest of his career. Cursed or not cursed?
Yeah, probably not on that one.
Yeah, I'd say
that's
no.
more coincidence.
How old was Eddie George in 2001?
Wasn't that old because he was a rookie, 95? So what would he be, late 20s?
Yeah, so that was his 5th season.
Yeah, 28 maybe. I mean, they played 4 years back then. So what, 28, 29?
Yeah, they did play 4 years back then. Oh, it's funny. Well,
I'll say no curse.
Okay, so 2 no curses. I've got it as a curse because of the average after the fact, and then the Benjamin has it as cursed as well. So
but, 1,500 yards.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. Not cursed in that one.
Woo, sway the mind, sway the mind.
After that, he got too interested in running his restaurant.
Yeah,
which, by the way, was very good.
Well, he spent a lot of time doing it, apparently. Oh, good stuff.
Thank you, Eddie George.
Yes. 2002, Minnesota Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper. After throwing 33 touchdowns and going 11-5 as a first-time starter in 2000, Culpepper took a nosedive during his cover season. Injuries cost him 6 games. He fumbled 16 times and threw 14 touchdowns compared to 13 interceptions and went 4-7 in his starts. I got to say that one's cursed.
He's cursed, and don't forget, Rich Gannon, who had been with the Vikings, had a MVP season in 2002 with the Raiders.
So that's even they were
double
completely
cursed that year.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'll go with that one.
And I got it too. So that's 2 out of 3. So David, what do you think?
Doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
No, I'll agree with you guys.
All right. 2003, Rams running back Marshall Faulk, Hall of Famer, entered his cover season having logged 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons and 3 straight 1,300-yard campaigns. But in 2002, Faulk broke down, missing almost half a dozen starts. He never topped 1,000 yards again. God, he was so good.
Was that the year they lost Warner? Was that the year he retired?
Did he go to the Cardinals yet at that point?
Well, he did retire before he went
and
to
then he
the
went.
Cardinals.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I can't. It was right around then that they went to Green or Bulger, whoever they went to. Or
I think it was. Oh, that's fun. Was it Trent Green?
I can't remember which
I want to
one
say
it
it was.
Mark
I want to say it was
Bulger,
Mark Bulger, and then Trent Green came from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Slight curse.
All right. That counts in the yes column for me. David Hayes, what do you got?
I'll say yes.
Okay. Well, my opinion does not matter then. All right. That is another yes. And we've done 3, right? Yep, 3. Okay. 2004 Atlanta quarterback Michael Vick. In the game, Michael Vick was unstoppable thanks to his unmatched speed. On the field, despite exploding onto the scene as the number 1 pick, a fractured fibula less than a week after the game's release sidelined him for all but 5 games. And then obviously 4 years later, he ended up in jail.
That's 100% curse.
All right.
You break your leg a week after the game comes out, that's a curse.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, so it was Trent Green, and then it was Kurt Warner, and then it was Mark Bulger.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
See, I'm just too old. I remember them all. I was wondering, I didn't say Vince Ferragamo while we were at it.
And I wouldn't know who that is, so that's perfect. All right, David,
Gabriel.
Michael Vick, yes or no? Yes. All right.
I wrote a paper in college on him coming, like his comeback.
I think I remember
Yeah.
you. This is probably the same time last year when we were doing the same exercise. 2005, Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis. His interception total dropped from 6 to 0 in 2004, his cover year, and then the Ravens also missed the playoffs. But that's nitpicking. He still logged 147 tackles. If we're talking about the following year, that might be a case to be made as he missed 10 games. I'll start this one. I don't think he was cursed.
No, I agree. No curse.
All right, no curse. So we're 3-2 right now. Yeses to no. 2006, Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. McNabb hit his peak in 2004, throwing 31 touchdowns and leading the Eagles to Super Bowl 34. But 2005 was rock bottom. He scuffled with Terrell Owens.
Shocking.
And missed almost half of a 6-10 season. He went on to miss 8 games over the next 2 years as well.
So the downward slide started before he was the cover guy.
2004 or 2000, yeah, he was peak in 2004.
Right, 5 he struggled, and then he was a cover guy for 6. I'm going to say no curse there.
All right, David.
Curse.
I like it. I'm going to say yes, too, just because my 2 roommates in college were both from the area, and they were huge Philadelphia Eagles fans, and that was peak Philadelphia Eagles, and I was just tired of hearing it. So I'm going to go with curse as well. Next, we've got Seattle Seahawks running back Sean Alexander. Like Falk, he entered his cover year with 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons under his belt, and his dominance also came to a halt. In 2006, his rushing total dropped from 1,880 to 896, and 2 years later, he was out of the NFL as a Washington Redskins washout.
Curse. Because Sean was the man.
Yeah, he was. Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the greatest. I'll say cursed as well.
Although, to be fair, almost all of these athletes are going to be probably coming off their career year.
Yeah. So it's hard to live up to that
so
expectation.
anything's going to look. But
yeah.
Nobody likes fairness, so keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Quarterback from Tennessee Titans, Mr. Vince Young. He was the offensive rookie of the year in 2006. For his cover year, though, he just threw 9 touchdowns compared to 17 interceptions. He missed a game and earned a seat on the bench for 2008, never fully regaining Jeff Fisher's trust.
That ain't a curse. That's Jeff Idiot 8-8 Fisher.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, when you throw 9 touchdowns to 17 interceptions, don't you? And I hate this, but don't you kind of
there was nothing mystical about Jeff Fisher's mismanagement of Vince Young.
I'm not going to disagree.
Curse.
I won't disagree with you there. I'm just saying too, if you're there, he did mismanage him, and he didn't want Vince Young.
He just didn't want him,
right?
Yeah.
And so that played a pivotal role in the confidence, which a quarterback's got to be the most confident person on the team, right? So it did play a role in his confidence. However, regardless of that, 9-17 is still tough.
Yeah.
So
Jeff handled him like he put money on the curse.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah. That's a good point.
No curse for me.
All right. David?
I won't. I'll say that it's None of these to me have to exactly what he said. It has nothing to do with your face being on the cover of a magazine.
No.
Fun to talk about, or the cover of a video game.
No, Michael Vick's leg broke. That was why.
But I will say, playing with this game, yes, curse.
Okay. I'm actually going to go no curse on this one. Brian kind of convinced me of that with Jeff Fisher's mismanagement. And maybe that is a leg of the curse. I mean, again, this is all hypothetical and all that.
To be fair, I have an unhealthy hatred of Jeff Fisher. So,
all right, well, I'm going to go back to the other side then and say it is indeed a curse. Because you have a bias.
But again, I told you, I don't like fairness. I keep saying that to be fair.
I know. All right, maybe we can get one more in before we got to take a break.
Hornets just traded Mark Williams.
Ooh, there you go.
I think to the Suns, if I read that right. So
interesting. 2009, Packers/Jets quarterback Brett Favre. EA began making Favre the cover athlete as a tribute to his Packers career, which had just ended. But then Favre forced his way in and out. Forced his way out and into New York. All he did there was throw an NFL high 22 picks and hurt his shoulder before moving to Minnesota.
I'd say EA was cursed in that deal.
Yeah, that was a father time curse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say curse because everybody goes to New York and lays an egg, but I'll say curse here.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll agree with Coach Haddad there. It is a curse, but it's like, what do you expect differently?
Yeah, you weren't really in a good situation there.
You got to go in, you got to get to the Super Bowl, and just for the Jets to win another one, they're going to need someone they're going to need for their quarterback to come out and claim that they are guaranteeing.
Yeah, you just got to pull a Broadway Joe and make it happen, because I'm trying to think the last good quarterback that played for the New York Jets, and
then you can make the argument for Chad Pennington.
I mean, Sanchez had some
moments.
Success.
Yeah, wait, what, AFC?
I think they made some runs to the championship, but that was predicated on a
Kenny
great
O'Brien
defense.
had a few good years, but
it's got to be tough to be a Jets fan. Whew, absolutely. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll pick this up in the final segment, but we'll talk about some afternoon delight debriefs coming up next.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, likely thunderstorms and some clouds, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze at 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a chance of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new 2025 Kia Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride. During the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event, experience what everyone's talking about. Stop by for a test drive today and discover the perfect fit, featuring spacious 8-passenger seating, premium interior, and advanced safety and technology features. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours this summer and a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride with $2,253 per $1,000 financed at 48 months. Quality limits cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lumen. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios. It's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Our 8-year happy birthday to ESPN Northwest Florida, giving you all your local sports and national sports and betting information and DF information and the Madden curse, all the fun stuff we love to talk about. Sometimes it's about sports, sometimes it's not, but we love to have a lot of fun here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate everybody who has been along for the ride. Even if it's been just a year, we appreciate you hopping on. If it's been all 8 years, we appreciate your support very much. You can also watch, listen, like, comment, subscribe, share, follow. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Working on the old TikTok side of things. I don't think it was Tiki streams or whatever it was yesterday, but
no, I don't. From what I was looking up yesterday, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm telling you that I'm not going to. It's not going to be a simple process, so more than likely it ain't happening. Well, that's the whole thing, is it has to be through a phone, and then you have to put it in a vMix. I was looking through the step-by-step process, and I'm like, we've got too much space. I'd have to ask too many questions.
No doubt. Well, maybe we'll just do it.
It would be cool to be able to share. You could do that. Yeah. You can get a phone to do that. Or if you could,
be careful on the brakes.
Share the Facebook feed to TikTok.
Gotcha. That I may try.
Or YouTube.
Yeah, that I may try. But if you want to download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store, 104.3 is all you got to search up. Head over to ESPNPC.com. At the top of the page, you'll see the link for Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, NFL Network, Red Zone event, pay-per-view events, anything you could possibly want to watch right there on Scorpion TV. 5,000 local network channels from Panama City and beyond, all throughout the country. Also got the premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax Stars, plus 200 and more entertainment and news networks. Or watch all those movies on demand, even though David recanted his contest. It was pretty
if someone gets it done, then...
Yeah, it's pretty much unachievable to begin with.
Exactly.
But, for a mere $45.08 a month with code ESPNNW, you can get that great price. You can watch it up to 5 devices at the same time, cut the cord, not the fun, as Bone Crusher says, and score Scorpion TV. Just go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo. Good stuff. Get out. You got to do it now because football season is literally around the corner. We are inside 70 days for NFL and inside, I think, 56 days for college football. Do you want to talk about Golf Plus one more time? Retail, fitting, and repair, everything you could possibly need from a golfer's side of things. Even if you're not a golfer and you just have golfer friends in your life, it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, and it rains pretty much every day. You know where it doesn't rain? Inside Golf Plus. They've got the simulator. If you want to get fitted, they've got that. But you can also just book the simulator time as well to play a round of golf. What would normally take 4 hours, maybe more, will take you only an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if you have 4 people. Again, just go to Golf Plus. Is the website still Golf Plus Dothan, or is he changed it to I'll find out from him. But anyway, just search up Golf Plus on the Google machine and you'll find their website. And you can book directly through their website and check out their new Facebook page, Golf Plus PCB. Golf Plus PCB on Facebook. So all that good stuff. I'll check out the website information here. But we got to dive into some afternoon delight debriefs. If you're a documentary buff like me and Beth are, a new one came out last night. They've got a great series on Netflix called Trainwreck, and it's all sorts of different disasters, crazy things that have happened. And I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2013, the Carnival Triumph was dubbed the Poop Cruise, as it was a disaster, and they really did a great job, great job. I'm sure Carnivals, if you wanted to make some money, you probably want to short Carnival stock this morning. But anyway, basically what happened is there was a fire down in the engine room, and it burned all the power cords to the entire ship. So they were in the middle of the Gulf of, they said Mexico on the thing, but they were in the middle of the Gulf, just floating with no power, no sanitation, none of those things. And it took a long time for them to get back. But the New York Post put out an article this morning from somebody who was on the Poop Cruise and said the Netflix documentary fails to capture the true horror of 4 days at sea with no food, power, or sanitation. The scariest thing that they'd ever been through. If you don't know about it, the crews from Texas to Mexico spiraled into chaos after an engine room fire triggered a massive electrical failure, leaving over 4,000 passengers and crews wading through urine, feces, and camping on the deck. It's the focus of the documentary. It came out yesterday, Trainwreck, Poop Cruise. It was released yesterday, June 24th. But one of the passengers, Tay Redford, 24, has watched the trailer and is hurt. Now, the bakery owner from Enid, Oklahoma, said she was just 12 when the ship lost power, leaving passengers in the darkness, surrounded by sewage, and struggling for basic necessities. She recalls the fear and chaos vividly, saying Carnival didn't offer meaningful support after the ordeal. Gripped by long-term trauma, Tay worries the documentary will not represent the survivors' voices and vows to never cruise again.
So, I don't know if this is going to be in the documentary or not. But
I can tell you, we watched it last night.
Okay, the thing I remember most vividly about the story, because it ended up docking in Mobile Bay.
Yes, yeah.
And so they let them out at Mobile. That's right. And so what I remember about this, and you want to talk about people who really just have no luck at all. So there were a few people who just got off and stayed, but for whatever, Carnival didn't put people up in downtown Mobile hotels.
Yeah.
So they put them on buses and were sending them to New Orleans. And one of the buses to New Orleans broke down.
Oh, man.
So you've just come out of this entire disaster. They put you on a bus for 3 hours or whatever it is from Mobile to New Orleans, probably about 2.5, 3 hours. And one of them breaks down. I mean, at that point, I'm looking for a bridge, and I'm just,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Because they originated from Galveston, Texas.
Yeah.
So even from New Orleans to Galveston was still a long way.
Right.
They had to get back home.
But, so anyway, I just distinctly remember that going, how bad did those people just have it?
I mean, I was watching it last night, and I always put myself into the situation, and, I couldn't think of anything more terrifying and scary. And just, you're trapped. There's nowhere you can go. There's nothing that works.
I said this when Michael hit here because I vaguely remember as a child Hurricane Frederick where we didn't have power or water, and it was the late 70s. Yes, David, we had water back then. But
what?
But
shocking.
When Michael hit, I remember thinking people have an understanding of how to live without power.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who've truly been through living without running water and sanitation. And so think about that out in the middle of the Gulf. That had to have been terrifying.
Well, and the cruise director was kind of the one of the main focus of the interviews and all that stuff. And they said they have power outage, stuff like that happens, but the engineers just go down and figure it out, and power gets turned back on. Well, so they were so hopeful that would happen, so that when they actually went down there and saw, all the electrical cords were just melted, and it was the entire power it was the power to the entire ship.
Yeah.
And she's just like, now what do we do?
That's right.
And they
don't have the handbook for that.
No.
They do now.
They do now, that's for sure. But they were telling everybody to use the showers for number one, and they handed out red bags for number two that they had to put out in the hallways, and then crew members would go collect them and put them further down in the ship. And it was just watching that was
so
awful. But and then at the same point is you've got all that, and then it's got nowhere to go. So it just starts rising. And when when it got bad is when the tugs finally got there. And when they were tugging back in, the ship wasn't balanced on its axis. It was tipped to the side. So everything was spilling over and coming out. And you just think about all the food on the ship, all the stuff that doesn't last long. And when you go to port, you get stuff redone. And this was what's crazy too. I hate to keep talking about this, but it's a great Afternoon Delight debrief. Is they made it an open bar at some point where they were just trying to get people to, I guess, use the product, but that was probably the worst decision you can make. One, it's going to make you have to use the bathroom a lot more. Two, it's going to make people pissed off. You're hot. You're hungry. You're panicking. So there was fights. There was just that's like who made that decision?
We're in a bad situation right now. You know what's coming to my mind? We need people to relax. Let's just Feed them free booze.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, I can remember one time I didn't know the New Orleans casinos had to go out on the water.
Yeah.
And I was out of money, and as you all know, out of money in casinos is pretty miserable.
Yes.
I remember walking out, figuring out we were out on the water, thinking, I can swim back.
Yeah.
Now, you're on the Gulf of Mexico,
Yep.
or America, or whatever you want to call it. You ain't swimming back because you probably can't even see shore from where they were. So, yeah, it's... But
Yeah, I mean, what's going through your head? You know, why? I mean, I just couldn't imagine being in that situation. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And especially if you had, like, a child with you.
Oh, yeah.
One of the main focus of the the people that were on the ship, was a dad and his daughter, who at the time was 12, and, like, he couldn't protect her.
That's
because it's just pure anarchy. Because once it turns into everybody for themselves, like, that's not a situation most people will ever or have ever been in. So
it's amazing how quickly general society can break down, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
The control and the organization and the lack of panic just goes completely away in those situations. But not to continue with the bad stuff, but this is maybe not hopefully we don't have any chiropractors listening, but according to reports, Jonathan Bucklew suffered a brainstem stroke after following a neck adjustment in 2015, but his condition went undiagnosed for a full day. He's now 34. He is fully conscious but unable to move or speak. A court held multiple medical professionals liable for failing to detect and to treat the stroke in time. He was awarded $75 million after a routine chiropractor visit left him permanently paralyzed with locked-in syndrome. What are you going to do at $75 million if you can't move? Take care of your family?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that's...
I'm probably going to...
Watch everybody around you have a good time, I guess.
I'm going to go get a new golf set from Golf Plus.
Yeah.
I'm going to order Scorpion TV and, probably...
Get one of the talking things.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, but that's a super sad and disappointing story. I'll pivot to a nicer one.
I'm going to accomplish my own goal and win a That Boot Store gift certificate by watching all the movies on Scorpion TV.
There you go. This is back from May 31st. It was the Tomahawk Fevers post, which is a Braves a Braves social media page. But anyway, the title is Waitress Sees Austin Riley's Check. Get rid of this ad. Reads into the note and bursts into tears. Waitress sees Austin Riley's check, reads the note, bursts into tears in a quiet corner of an ordinary restaurant in Atlanta. A moment unfolded that would forever change the life of a young waitress named Lily. At just 24 years old, Lily worked tirelessly to support her dreams and family, never imagining that a simple act of kindness from a famous baseball star would touch her heart so deeply and leave her in tears. Lily didn't realize at first who she was serving that day. Austin Riley, the talented and humble third baseman for the Atlanta Braves, had just come in like any other customer. Polite, unassuming, and modest, Austin didn't draw any attention to himself. He smiled warmly at the staff, chatted briefly with Lily when she brought his order, and enjoyed his meal quietly, savoring the time away from the roar of the stadium crowds and flashing cameras. For Lily, it was just another day at work. She greeted him with her usually friendly attitude, brought his food and drinks, and checked in to make sure everything was perfect. Austin thanked her politely each time, never making a fuss or acting like a celebrity. She thought, wow, he's just really a normal guy. But what happened next changed everything. When Austin finished his meal, he left a folded check on the table and quietly exited the restaurant, wearing a smile that was both genuine and kind. Lily, curious and a little intrigued, unfolded the check, and what she read made her heart skip a beat. It wasn't just a generous tip that caught her attention. It was substantial enough to make her gasp. What truly overwhelmed her was the handwritten note from Austin Riley, written with sincerity and warmth. The note thanked her not only for her service that day, but for her hard work, dedication, and the kindness she showed everyone she encountered. He wrote about how he knew life wasn't always easy, especially for someone working hard to build a better future. He encouraged her to keep pursuing her dreams, reminding her that her effort and spirit were noticed and admired not just by him, but but many who face challenges daily. The note ended with a simple but powerful message. Keep believing in yourself, Lily. Your kindness and strength will carry you far. The world needs more people like you. Overwhelmed with emotion, Lily's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't believe that someone she had admired so much, someone she had saw only on TV and in stadiums, had taken the time to recognize her as a person, not just a waitress doing her job. In that moment, the struggles she had quietly borne. The long hours, the financial worries, the self-doubt seemed a little bit lighter. Tears streamed down her face as she held the note close. It wasn't just encouragement, it was validation. It was a reminder that kindness could come from the most unexpected places, and even that small acts could have an immeasurable impact. For days afterwards, Lily kept the note in a special place. It became a source of strength whenever she felt exhausted or discouraged. She shared the story with her friends and family, not to boast, but to inspire them to believe in themselves just as Austin had inspired her. Austin Riley's gesture sparked conversations across social media and the community. Fans praised him for not only his skills on the baseball field, but his humility and generous spirit off the field. Many shared similar stories of athletes and celebrities who used their platform to uplift everyday heroes, teachers, nurses, waitstaff, and others who quietly make the world better. In a world that seems dominated by the headlines of controversy and negativity, this heartfelt moment reminded everyone that genuine kindness still exists. It showed how a simple note, a few sincere words, and a generous tip could uplift a person in ways money alone never could. For Lily, that day became a turning point. She renewed her commitment to her dreams, whether that meant continuing her education, saving for a new opportunity, or simply being kinder to herself. She realized she mattered, that her work mattered, and that the world had noticed her in a way she never expected. Austin Riley's message transcended the boundaries between celebrity and everyday life. It showed that behind every famous face is a person who can choose to make a difference, to spread hope and kindness, to touch a life profoundly with just a few words. Lily's story is a powerful reminder sometimes the smallest act of kindness create the biggest waves. And when we see others with compassion, we help build a world where everyone feels seen, valued, and encouraged to keep moving forward. So the next time you serve a meal, greet a stranger, or face your own challenges, remember Lily's tears and Austin Riley's note, because kindness matters, and sometimes it's the quiet moments that change everything.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. What did Michael say earlier? ABP, always be positive.
Always be positive.
ABK,
always be kind.
Always be kind.
Yeah, I was trying to think
always
of a
be
way
killer.
to drop a little storm cloud on that story, but I can't do it. So
wait, so you have something that could be?
No,
oh, okay.
No, it's not that I'm unwilling to do it. I just can't think of anything.
Well, wow. We stopped the troll. Well, not troll. That's not fair because you don't troll no one.
I've been called Eeyore before.
Eeyore.
Womp womp. Yeah, I just thought that was a nice, and I wanted to follow that up, with the other ones that we just talked about. So that one, obviously, and it's kind of
less poopy.
Yeah, yeah, with a different word though. But yes,
there you go.
But yes, yeah. I mean, and it's something we talk about here all the time. Just be kind.
Yep.
You never know what people are going through, and a simple smile and how are you can go a super long way.
ABP JBK. Always be positive. Just be kind.
There you go. I got to get the shirt going.
Yeah, but don't quote me on that first.
Yes.
Because now anytime that I hear someone say, I hear people say it all the time now, and I'm just like,
and you didn't realize how many people say it. Yep.
Yeah, your face just pops up in my head. It's like me saying 100% or something.
Yeah, I'm going to get a shirt with GOML.
Get off my lawn, baby. Yes, dude, that would be so dope. He's like, there's a cloud in the background, and it's Brian shaking his hand, and he looks older than what he does right now. Because Brian don't look old at all.
No.
Screaming at the cloud.
Yeah, but then it says, and it's got like a little cartoon like quote.
Yes, a quote
cloud.
Bubble.
Yeah, quote bubble. Yep. And it says, get off my lawn in all capital letters.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it looks just like a newspaper comic. From back in the day.
No, I've got a great picture in my head.
Crazy.
Good stuff. Was that a rumble outside?
Of course, see?
Yeah, get off my lawn.
I'm screaming at the clouds. Here comes one.
It is getting a little dark out there.
I did see this. I don't know if you saw this one or not. A YouTuber who specializes in domino feats broke a Guinness World Record when she and her team assembled the world's tallest domino structure measuring, get this, 33 feet, 2.74 inches tall. Took them about 5 days to build it. And again, 33 feet, 2.74 inches tall, breaking the previous record of 32 feet, 10.8 inches. The team celebrated by then throwing a stuffed squirrel toy at the top of the tower and watching it collapse.
Oh my God.
33 feet of a domino
That's
tower.
insane.
I guess you got to.
What,
You need a
dominoes
cherry.
like
That's what, a
inch and a half
3.5 story building?
Oh, they're laying flat.
Or are they vertical? Or they laid down?
I did.
There's no way
you
that they
couldn't
can-
balance that. And you'd almost need a cherry.
Well, I mean, you could have a wide base.
True. And
take
go
it
up.
like a
but-
pyramid.
Yeah.
But
You know,
yeah.
there's a golf course right next to the pyramids out there in Egypt.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it
on the
sand or
other-
grass?
No, it's grass.
Mm.
It's grass. Little fun fact nobody knows about.
The
Would
one
you
the-
ever play
the one the aliens built?
Yes. No, that's out in Arizona.
Would you ever play a golf course that was all sand?
I mean, that's how golf courses used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
And sand greens and all that stuff.
Wow.
Not
Well,
anymore.
some
though.
of the Muni tracks I grew up on were.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I'm not going there.
Yes. We do have to take a quick break. We got to get Brad Law on the line. He's the director of the broadcast operations for the Auburn Tigers. You're listening to Inside Drive. We'll be right back with Brad Law.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
All state, all this, all that, and we didn't even know. Did you have any idea? Hey, Coop, did you have any idea at all you had won all that stuff when you were in here? Were you not shocked, Coop? I mean, you.
Oh, I love it.
There you go. You love it. Okay.
True Gator.
Yeah.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The rest of the day, possible thunderstorms and some clouds, and 89 with a gentle breeze around 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, she has over 20 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within a week, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into a new setting and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 50 years.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. We're betting the limit and covering the spread. The Inside Drive with Ryan and Jay
Thank you. Nice to be in Vegas.
on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back, and we've got our good friend on the line, Brad Law. He's the director of broadcast operations for the Auburn Sports Network. Kind of in that time in the summer where, college baseball is now over, football may be getting kicked up here just a little bit. So, Brad, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a different line of questioning today, kind of crescendoing to, what you think about the season coming up. First off, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since we have talked.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I hope everybody down there is doing well and that everybody's enjoying the summer so far.
Yes, if my Coastal Carolina Chanticleers would have beat those LSU Tigers, probably be a little bit more excited. but still a fantastic season nonetheless, and a fantastic season for the Auburn men's baseball team as well as the Auburn women's softball team. Brad, I'm going to talk a little bit about Auburn here to begin with. For those who may never made the trip to Auburn, to the Plains and all that stuff, what is some advice that you would give people of places they need to go to when they're up there in Auburn, whether it relates to the university or just the town?
Yeah, that's a really good question because campus is pretty centralized.
Yeah.
It's not highly spread out. So I would encourage everybody to head downtown. The college and really the itself kind of sneaks up on you, especially if you're coming from the north, because you're on a 2-lane road with some old houses and fields and things like that, and then all of a sudden you go over the railroad tracks and bam, here is a college town. And you're very near downtown at that point. So, I would spend a lot of time downtown. Would stop in, the historic place is Toomer's Drugs, where they have famous lemonade. And you know what? It's lemonade, but there's something special about it because it's at a place that's still making it the same way they made it 100 years ago, with the hand, crank on the metal machine that squeezes the lemons and the limes, and there's just an authenticity about it that's still there, like the black and white tile floor that's the same for 100 years, those sorts of things. Authenticity is the word that comes to mind there. And then you're downtown, and so you can check out Sanford Hall, and, on a beautiful day, there is no more beautiful walk to take than a walk around campus, and you can see the student facilities, the athletic facilities, and so I would start there, and you could spend the whole day just in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful indeed up there on the Plains. Unless it's, an early Saturday in September. Not that it's not beautiful, but, put some sunblock on and have lots of hydration. But that's any college town in the South, that's for sure.
That's right.
And Brad, more specifically to you, I don't think I've ever asked you this question before. Just curious how it all came to be for you to join the Auburn Sports Network as the Director of Broadcast Operations.
I was here in the mid-2000s. I came to school down here, and I met with the late Rod Bramlett, who was went into his second year as the voice of the Auburn Tigers. Had done a lot on the operations end before that. And, I just said, I'm coming down here for school, and it's been a dream of mine to work for this network. What can I do? And they allowed me to work in the answering while the normal administrative person went to lunch. And so I changed light bulbs for a while. I delivered magazines for a while, and that turned into being allowed to run the board for broadcasts here and there for baseball and some other sports. And that turned into some softball play-by-play, and that turned into some other studio work and on-site production work, and that turned into football producing and, just sort of one little step at a time. And so we moved away for a while. In 2011, we were gone 4 years, came back, and we're about to start our 10th season back now in this role with operations and on air with football and basketball and baseball. So it's a wonderful thing, and it's easily a get to and not a have to type of job.
That is awesome. You did say, when you were kind of painting the picture early on that it was your dream to be a part of the network. How did that come to be? Was that a family thing? How did your Auburn fandom, obviously now it's more than fandom, but how did that all come to be?
Yeah, well, my dad was on the Auburn football teams in the late 60s and early 70s.
That's awesome.
But he never really pushed that or athletics on my sister or me. I always kind of thought that I would grow, like he was 6'4", 240, like a real athletic specimen. And I kept waiting to get to 6'4", and I stopped about 4 inches short of that and didn't have the same athletic prowess that he did. So I used to want to be a veterinarian. Our town vet allowed me to shadow him for about a month one summer when I was 14, I think. And we had to neutralize a dog, and I had to help hold the animal.
Brutal.
And that let me know, like that was, well, we're not going to do this for a living. Nope, we're not.
Yeah.
We don't have the We don't have the countenance for that. So.
Couldn't do the dying for a living there.
No, couldn't do that. And so, the broadcasting was a way to still be involved in team sports. I think athletics are just so important for people's developments and keeping things in perspective and everything. I just love everything about it. And was never going to play beyond high school. Knew that. So this was a way to kind of continue to be a part of that. And I also watched, my grandfather was the ultimate Auburn fan, hardworking, rural farmer / World War II veteran type of guy. And he started losing his eyesight early in my teenage years and developed cataracts. So I would watch him listen to games on the radio. They were on the TV, but he couldn't see what was happening on the TV as well as the years went by. And so I would watch him kind of sit on the edge of his seat and listen to the radio, and radio would paint the picture. And so I just thought, man, this is impactful. People really pay attention to this. This is a good thing, and it's something that I want to be a part of.
Brad, that's. I'm glad I asked that question because that is an awesome story, and I could kind of feel, being in the living room, with your grandpa, listening to it on the radio, and you kind of helping out with that situation. And man, good stuff. I mean, and that's kind of how I would say, not all, but most fandoms when it comes to sports, it's usually brought to you by some other member in your family and quote unquote passed down. But cool stuff there. And obviously, you knew Auburn was such a great veterinarian school, so I could see how that was an avenue as well. But having to hold my own dogs in the past during those situations, I don't know how anybody could do that kind of, not day in and day out, but more than a few times a week, I'm sure. So obviously making the move to the broadcast side seemed to pay off for you quite well. Kind of diving more now into what's coming up here in this season. What do you think the biggest strength for the Auburn football team is heading into this next adventure?
I think they have some consistency within the coaching staff at the coordinator spots, which is going to be important. I think that they have one of the top 3 or 4 edge rushers in the country in Keldrick Falk. Quarterback and edge rusher are the positions that are paid the most at the NFL. They're the most impactful. Yep. They're the most explosively impactful positions on the field. And I think Auburn feels good about both of those spots going into the year with Keldrick Falk, with some guys with a whole lot of talent and explosion behind them on the depth chart. Kieron Crawford stepping into his first season as a starter opposite Keldrick. And then some good young players as well, and Amaris Williams, and then a transfer from Sam Houston State, Chris Murray. And then at the quarterback spot, you have, Auburn's most talented and highly regarded quarterback room in a very long time. In the 5-star Deuce Knight as a true freshman, and then Jackson Arnold, who, was a 5-star guy, and everybody wanted him. And now every position around him is fairly inarguably better at Auburn than it was at Oklahoma a year ago. And the fit is better from an offensive head coach to a system that he was in high school. So when you start at the 2 most explosive, impactful positions on the field, Auburn feels as confident in those positions as it has felt in a number of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the topic of conversation, for the last several months, and I think the Auburn fan base is looking more forward to this season than any other season in recent memory. In your opinion, Brad, I don't know if you can speak to this or not, is Hugh Freeze on any kind of hot seat there in Auburn? And if so, what does he have to do to get off that hot seat?
He's the coach at Auburn. He's always
on the hot seat. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think that's an interesting, and I don't want to dodge the question. I don't want to use semantics either. There is always a degree of pressure that comes with the job. I think it's an important year. You've had 2 years where the team has finished below 500. The roster is, again, objectively better. And I just think there are so many reasons to expect the record to be better as well. Auburn had some real anomalies, I think, creep up to bite it last year. Auburn missed 4 field goals in situations in SEC games that would have put it up 2 scores, either late first half or in the second half of games. It had the 16th in the conference, dead last in red zone scoring percentage. Well, you fix that with a better field goal kicking game. It had too many drives that started inside the 20 because of penalties on kick returns. They were net 11th in the conference in net punting a year ago and only had one touchback. So, I just think there's some areas that needed to be addressed in the offseason, and whether it's by guys now being healthy who weren't last year, namely Alex McPherson, who did not miss a kick.
That was a huge blow last year.
Yeah. Him not being available hurt in a ton of games. And so I just think you go back and the margin for error is so slim, I can't imagine realistically missing on like all of those opportunities when they present themselves again this season.
Yeah, Brad, I'm looking at Auburn's schedule here for the upcoming season, and generally speaking, it lines up pretty good for success. Now, everybody's looking at the Georgia game. Everybody looks at the Alabama game. But what is a game that's out there that maybe not everyone's got their focus on right now that's going to be pretty critical to what Auburn does this upcoming season?
Well, I think you look at, if you split the schedule in half, the first six are Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important six-game stretch. 3 of those 6 are on the road, including the opener at Baylor. Everybody's eyes are on Baylor, so I'll leave them out of this answer because you said one that nobody's. But I think that Oklahoma game, week 4. If you win Baylor, then you ought to be 3-0 going on the road for the first time in conference play. That's a huge, huge game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Arkansas game on the road on October 25th. What have you done against Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, and Missouri before heading on the road to play Arkansas? I think that's a big game. I think the Missouri game on the 18th is a huge game. It's the week after Georgia. They don't have Luther Burden. They don't have Brady Cook, who beat you almost single-handedly last year. What are you doing in those games? I think because there is such an emphasis on seeing more wins this year and kind of turning the corner from that perspective. I mean, you point to 6 or 7 of these games as just massive, massive games.
Yeah, and kind of what you were talking about before, Brad, losing at home to Arkansas, losing at home to Oklahoma, getting beat by Missouri when you just said Brady Cook just could have single-handedly won that game. We have to turn and flip those, and if you flip those games, you can afford a loss to Georgia or afford a loss to Alabama, which I don't think they're going to lose to Alabama this year. But on the same token, all of a sudden you flip 3 of those games, and you're right there where you need to be from a win-loss standpoint to keep moving in the right direction. So with that being said, what is your win-loss record for a successful year for the Auburn Tigers?
Oh, that's tricky, and I will dodge that one. I don't know that I give you a number.
I know you did it. I tried to sneak it in there again this year. I know last year you gave me the old no sir, so I tried again.
I know, and God bless you for trying, and I want you to keep trying.
I will. That's a promise.
I will tell you this, Vegas, I think, set the number at 7.5 wins. There's a certain group of fans who go, well, you ought to win 8 or 9. Well, long term, that's the expectation should be at least that, I guess. But over the last 10 years, Auburn's gone 9-3 in the regular season twice in the last 10 or 15 years. So if you're saying 9 games are bust this year, I don't mean long term. I don't mean big picture. I don't mean get back to that point. I mean in 2025, if you say 9 wins or bust, then what you're saying is your minimum expectation to be satisfied is something that's only happened, I guess, 3 times since 2010. And, I just don't know how fair that is in an assessment. I much prefer, let's go a game at a time. Let's worry about Baylor. And let's take care of Ball State. Let's kind of take it one game at a time because the margins in all these games are just so thin. No doubt. It's so easy to look ahead, especially in the world we live in with betting, win-loss totals, all that stuff. So much pressure and all that. It's cliche, but it's the way sports have to be in every way, shape, or form is one game, one play. I hear this all the time when I take Liam to camps. What's the objective of an offense in football? It's to get a first down. It's as simple as that. And if you get 10 first downs, 8 first downs, 7 first downs and drive, you're going to score touchdowns. So it's such a large game, and if you can really
bring it down to an objective, just get first downs. That's how you can and stop the other team, obviously, from getting first downs is certainly a way to look at it.
You know, Brad, the game that intrigues me, I grew up in Mobile, about a mile from South Alabama's campus, so seeing South Alabama-Auburn is a big deal to me. And for years, whether it be Alabama or Auburn, there's always been this discussion of should they play the smaller schools in the state, the South Alabamas, the Troys, the UABs, because, you know, it's all win for them. You're elevating their program and thus, you know, potentially losing out on those in-state players. What is kind of your thought in that, just that ideological sphere? And do you think this is a good thing for Auburn to take on schools like South Alabama and maybe potentially the other in-state schools?
Yeah, I would personally prefer if Auburn played its non-conference games against all in-state schools. Yep. I mean, if you're worried about other schools overtaking you in the pecking order in your place, then that's a you thing.
That's right.
You respect every opponent, and I don't believe you're helping other teams build up their programs by playing them. I think it's good to keep the money in state. And I've yet to hear an argument that, to me, held a lot of water otherwise. So, that's where I'm looking forward to that game. I think it was positive when Auburn played Jack State. Mm-hmm. They play them in baseball every year, play South in baseball, have every year for a while. And that's it. I wish we'd see more of it throughout our state, quite frankly, in other places.
Yeah, and there's got to be more interest in selling out a game like that than playing like Idaho A&M or something,
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe. I don't know. I am interested, and especially as the landscape changes, do Auburn fans care if it's South Alabama or Texas State?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure that you get more fans in the seats one way or the other.
Okay.
But what you do get is the money stays within your state.
Sure.
Yeah. Which is, the Mercer Bears have seemed to make it. They probably have their entire budget for athletics just based on the games that they play against Alabama teams.
Yeah, and if Auburn played, let's say Auburn played ULM again instead of South Alabama, well, South's going to get somebody else to pay it. Like, they're going to get their money. They're going to get their guarantee game. So, why not keep the money within your state borders?
Yeah, I like it.
Last question, Brad, then we'll let you go. When do the football activities, I know we're out of the spring and all that, but when do the activities really ramp up there on the plains for the season coming up?
Well, players can do some stuff on their own now. We will see more of that next month, player-led workouts and things like that. We will see, I guess, early August is when, or late July or early August, is when those official team activities, team practices can start. So it's a shorter run-up than usual because, you're playing a game August 29th instead of, the week after Labor Day or what have you. So, late July is when you'll see it really ramp up. But guys are working out now. Their quarterbacks are throwing to receivers and stuff like that is happening now as guys are on their own time with it.
Awesome. Well, Brad, that was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you jumping on with us when you do, and look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks when we're even closer to the start of the next college football season.
Always a pleasure, guys, and hope everybody has a great rest of your week. War Eagle to the Auburn fans on the coast.
War Eagle indeed, Brad. Take care. Have a great 4th of July, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
All right, you guys listen to Inside Drive. That was Brad Law, the Director of Broadcast Operations, almost a veterinarian there in Auburn. You're listening to Inside Drive. We'll be right back with our final segment of the day.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
Told you this would work.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus studios.
Happy anniversary.
Becky was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Looking for a portable building? See Best Way Portable Buildings. They have a variety of sizes to choose from and price ranges to fit your budget. Special reminder, mark your calendars for June 28th and 29th from 9 to 3. It's a multi-family yard sale at Best Way Portable Buildings. The best in portable, period. Just north of the Old Mall, Highway 231 in Panama City. And online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. A Golden Age builder.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
College football is almost here, and you can watch it all. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN+, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. The locals love it.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. Final segment of this Thursday afternoon. We got the Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4, followed by your Atlanta Braves finishing off the series against the Mets. Can they get the win and leave the Mets only to one victory over them so far this season, or will the Mets scrape another victory out like they did last night before they jump back home to take on the Philadelphia Phillies for a 3-game series? Coverage starts tonight against the Mets, 6 p.m. right after the Afternoon Underdogs, followed by the first pitch at 6:10. We do that again tomorrow, 6 p.m. coverage, first pitch at 6:15. Apparently on Friday you need 5 more minutes before that first pitch against the Philadelphia Phillies. Saturday, first pitch at 6:15. Coverage starts right here on ESPN Northwest Florida at 5. And then, of course, your matinee game on Sunday, 11:20 coverage. 12:35 first pitch. Atlanta Braves baseball right here on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and of course Brock Pest Control. We appreciate all of our sponsors to allow us to bring you guys the Atlanta Braves right here on the Gulf Coast. Brian, David, let's finish it up. We got
Brian. Okay.
Yeah, we'll finish up the
Thought I was in trouble for a second. I didn't know what was going on.
You didn't hear no middle name come out.
Yeah. That is a great point on that. Certainly does matter. All right, 2010. We're revisiting the Madden curse and seeing if there's more curses than not curses. This was an interesting year, and they had both the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald and Steelers safety Troy Polamalu. David, was that separated on consoles?
No. That was both of them were on the cover.
Or they
right?
were both on the same cover.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know at some point they started separating like the console cover.
What year was it?
2010.
Well, yeah, it can become collectible and you can sell twice as many.
There you go. Fitz had one of his standard Pro Bowl seasons.
Yeah, it was both of them on there.
Okay, with his Pro Bowl seasons of another 1,000-yard season, but Polamalu missed a career-high 11 games in 2009 thanks to an MCL injury, recording a career-low 20 tackles. So you got to remember, too, like, this is 2010. The game comes out the same year. Like, this year's is Madden 2026, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they're 2000.
So it comes out same year as the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so the 2009 season was their quote-unquote cover season.
This one's tough.
I'd almost say it's like...
Wasn't it like... doesn't the article break it down as a curse for one player and not so curse for another player?
Yeah, basically half cursed.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously works here because I think the injury bug is the biggest,
curse.
Yeah, the curse to it. So Polamalu certainly, Larry, it's hard to curse Larry.
So then Vince Young wasn't cursed then? Because if the curse is injury, then Vince Young's wasn't an injury.
I blame
I know
everything on Jeff Fisher.
I know. I'm just
Jeff Fisher is cursed. He's a
Jeff
cursor.
Fisher's cursed.
Yeah.
He's a cursor. He says bad words in the locker room.
Yep. Absolutely.
a bum is what he is.
Absolutely. Brian, can you talk for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure. No worries.
Fairy tale
But
or
anyway.
reality.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was Jay, I would.
No, but
you would be like, David?
But you know what is weird, David, is the fact that, when we talk about these curses, obviously you can have bad years, and what we talked about earlier is you're usually coming off a career year or one of the best years of your career, obviously, in doing it. So there's obviously, just by odds, a natural fallback. But how many guys have had, like we said, the freak injury or just the total collapse around them when it comes to this has probably been what started all this curse talk in the first place.
Oh, I agree. It does. I agree that it comes down to the injuries. And then you go to last year with 2025 with Christian McCaffrey, and that's what it boiled down to, right? I mean, he had one of the craziest injuries of all of these when we talk about the bilateral Achilles. What was it? It wasn't a tear or a rupture or anything. I believe it was just tendonitis in his Achilles.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, obviously, I'm not a doctor.
But that
I play
was
one on TV.
I mean, that was so wild because of how much we saw how much it impacted San Francisco. But also the world of fantasy football. How many people drafted Christian McCaffrey and going into week 1 thinking he was going to play, and then he didn't. So that curse right there was beyond just on the field.
It almost seems, too, in a lot of cases where that's going to be the next curse is who's the seen as the top dog for fantasy.
Yeah.
That everybody goes for because, but again, some of the, quote, curse comes from unrealistic expectations. Right? So if they don't live up to this, incredible mega model of what it, is thought they're going to do, then it's seen as a, depressing year. It's like, no.
Well, I think you kind of mentioned a different curse.
Yeah.
So I think it's the offensive player of the year curse that we're looking at now that could be a little bit more legitimate. Well, you go to 2019. The season after winning Offensive Player of the Year, Michael Thomas, 2019, only plays in 5 games. 2020 or 2020 was Derrick Henry. Next year, only plays in 8 games.
Right.
The next year, Cooper Kupp only plays in 9 games. Justin Jefferson only plays in 9 games.
And it starts from the same thing. The person who's going to be the fantasy darling is the person who had the career year before.
Exactly.
Or they fit a role like a Breece Hall last year or a Bijan Robinson or guys like that maybe don't live up to these lofty expectations. They go, the cursed. Well, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm back.
Maybe not.
I'm back. Thank y'all for
welcome back.
Yeah, when you're the
multitasker.
Yeah, when one of your neuro-oncologists calls, you got to answer that one.
Oh, like that's important.
Yeah, something like that.
I find it to be. Just a wee bit there.
All right, we'll go quick. I don't know what you guys were talking about.
I'm not sure we do.
Still sound like we're talking about the curse.
Yeah, we were kind of just seeing if it could be Offensive Player of the Year curse.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But coming down to the injuries and stuff, so we were on topic with you, sir. It's not like we just went Jay and started talking geography or something.
He wouldn't have been able to talk anyway. So he would have.
Like, well, David,
State
I don't
capitals
play video
with Jay.
He would have froze.
Yeah.
2011,
Memphis, baby. Woo!
New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. He threw 33 scores and earned another Pro Bowl selection, but what constitute as an off year, the season he graced the cover, he threw a career high in franchise record 22 picks. The Saints also lost to the 7-9 Seahawks in the playoffs.
That was a crazy game. I don't think you can say he's cursed there again. This is what we talked about coming off of banner year.
Yeah.
I thought he was no curse there.
Yeah, and there was no injury or anything associated with that. All right, I'll go with no curse too. 2012 Cleveland Browns running back Peyton Hillis, a Madden cult hero. Hillis grunted his way to 1,000 yards as the surprise lead back in 2010, but during his cover year, he missed a half dozen games with an injury, averaging just 3.6 yards per carry, and it ran his way into a journeyman backup career.
I was going to say, I'd say yes, because he almost disappeared from people's minds after all that. So yes, cursed there.
Yeah. David, cursed on Peyton Hillis?
I mean, come on, that white boy could run. I'll say I'll say cursed, but I mean, did we really have expectations for him to have a lengthy career?
And another one, he's kind of like a Mike Allstott kind of runner.
That's right.
2013, Calvin Johnson. He
just played for a back-to-back cursed organizations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I'm going to say, I don't want to go into too much detail because we only got a few minutes, but I'm going to say he was not cursed.
Agree.
2012, he almost had over 2,000 receiving yards.
Megatron.
Yes, man. If he would have just kept going, I mean, I understand why he retired, but man, he was a stud when it came to everything football. 2014, running back Adrian Peterson. If Calvin Johnson shattered that curse, Peterson might have slightly reignited it. While he topped 1,000 yards for the 6th straight season, he saw a big dip from his historic 2,000-yard campaign and then missed all but one game the following year after being indicted on child abuse charges.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought this was right around the time he started whipping the kids. So, I'd say he's cursed here.
Yeah, I would give a curse in that one.
But longevity wasn't a curse.
No. But, just... missing a lot of games that previous year, right after being on the cover. 2015 Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman. His interception total dropped, and his Seahawks failed to repeat as Super Bowl champions. But otherwise, Sherman was still at the top of his game during his cover year. It was only a season after that he did have to undergo Tommy John surgery.
I wouldn't say cursed for the next season. I would just say cursed if he's the one who said, don't run Marshawn Lynch here.
Yeah.
Then, but
that's true. That's still such a wild.
No curse here.
Who are we looking at right here?
Sherman. I would go no curse.
Yeah, no curse, but he also had some funny things happen after all that, but I'd say no curse.
Yeah. Odell Beckham Jr., he made that cover in 2016 game with the crazy catch. But he still did well after that. I would say he wasn't cursed.
I never thought he was as good as everybody made it out to be. He had a couple of big highlights.
Defined his thing there. Then you got, at least I don't think we're going to make it, 2017 Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski, 5-time Bowler, was coming off another double-digit touchdown season in 16, but missed virtually all of Patriots' first 4 games with a hamstring injury, and then finished with just 6 starts due to a herniated disc and many other issues.
That's a curse.
Definitely. 2018, Tom Brady. With a chance to win the 6th Lombardi Trophy, Brady was bested by Eagles backup Nick Foles in Super Bowl 52. But he still threw for more than 500 yards in that game after winning yet another MVP award, all at age 40, proving he was indeed immune to the curse.
No curse.
No curse there. All right, David, how much time? We're about to run out.
We got about 40 seconds.
Perfect. That's enough time to talk about you guys coming up this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. And then, of course, the Atlanta Braves coverage starting right after the afternoon underdogs, followed by the first pitch at 6:10. Go check out David Hayes' Facebook page for the best and worst of the day. He'll get you going, and he'll talk about it later on today. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, you're listening to The Inside Drive. Coach Haddad, appreciate you hanging out. Look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The Kevin Durant